Are you tired of missing all the time? Could you not hit the broadside of a barn? Do you let your team down at clutch moments?
You're so stupid!
Introducing Wolftone Draw, the only bowl you'll need to never miss again! Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? Welcome back, and if you're new here, oh hello! Today I got a video on what is possibly the best legendary bow in the game, Wolftone Draw. But before we get into it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it muchly. So, Wolftone Draw. This thing absolutely slaps, and let me explain to you really poorly why. First, let's go over its roles. In column 1, the first perk you can get is Impulse Amplifier. Massively increases projectile velocity, increases reload speed. I like this not so much for the projectile velocity, because at full draw, bows are a hit scan weapon anyway. What I do like is the increased knock speed on your arrows. Next we have Archer's Tempo. Draw time decreases after every precision hit. Does what it says on the tin. If you're good with the bow, this will pay dividends. For our first new perk, we have Shoot to Loot. Shooting an ammo brick picks it up and automatically reloads all of your weapons from reserves. I've not had a lot of use for it so far, but I would imagine come GM season it's going to be pretty useful for when you're cornered and you desperately need that heavy or special. We're going to skip Sneak Bow, as I reckon that's a pretty trash tier perk. And another new perk, Ensemble. Improved handling and reload speed when allies are nearby. This is kinda like the opposite of Threat Detector, proccing off allies instead of enemies. This is going to be a great perk in activities like GMs with the modifier Togetherness. You're going to get a lot of use out of this perk, as to heal you have to stay in close proximity to your allies. And lastly, and also kind of leastly, we have Threat Detector, increase reload stability and handling when enemies in close proximity. I'm not a big fan of this on bows, it's alright on shotguns, but in this particular case it doesn't really work out that great. Now we move over to column 2. For our first perk we have Adagio. After defeating a target, this weapon fires, charges or draws more slowly, and deals increased damage for a brief time. In PvP this is probably my favourite damage perk. I'll get into the damage numbers later and show you why. Next we have Dragonfly. Precision kills create an elemental damage explosion. Unfortunately I haven't got a roll with this yet, but there's not really a situation where I haven't really liked this perk. Next up, Frenzy. Being in combat for an extended time increases damage, handling and reload for this weapon until you are out of combat. This is truly a top tier PvE perk, as you don't need to get kills to proc it, and it's really easy to keep going, and it also improves your weapon in every conceivable way. Next perk is Harmony. Final blows with other weapons improve this weapon's damage and performance for a short duration. Unfortunately I haven't got a roll with this yet, so I'm not too sure of its efficacy, but to be honest, Harmony to me seems like a perk that's better suited towards special weapons than primaries. Second to last we have Cornered. Faster charge time or draw time when surrounded by combatants. This is a perk that really I think seems suited more towards fusion rifles than anything else, and even then I think there's better in-slot rolls you can get for them. Finally we have Demolitionist. Kills with this weapon generate grenade energy. Activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. It's not my favourite perk for this slot, but it does provide a lot of utility, so it just comes down to preference really. For example, you could be using a build that relies heavily on grenades, so this would just slot perfectly into that for you. Alright, so now let's get into my favourite role I've got so far, and then also what I think makes this bow so good, and how I like to play it. The role I've got has Impulse Amplifier and Adagio on it. Adagio is an absolutely god tier perk for this bow. Before Adagio is procced, you're hitting 162 to the head, and after 195, which means you can one-hit Guardians up to 7 resilience, which is massive, because resilience hasn't been that useful in the meta lately, and not a lot of Guardians are running anything above 4 to 6 resilience. So before Adagio is procced, you're going to be looking to team shot with this bow, try and get a cheeky kill in there. It's pretty much an effective strat with all bows anyway. They're team shot monsters, because basically it only leaves a couple of shots to clean up for your teammates, and if the enemy has any damage on them at all, you're going to be hitting them and getting them down to 0 health really easily. Then once Adagio's procced, it's absolutely nuts what this bow can do. You can, as long as you can land your headshots, that's how excited I am. I'm stuttering all over the place. If you can hit your headshots with this bow consistently, you can go on absolute tears with this weapon. Especially in 6v6 game modes, you can wipe enemy teams like they are nothing. I absolutely love this perk. When I first saw it in the database, I didn't think it was going to be that great on anything other than special weapons, but honestly, on bows, this thing is cracked. Just gotta trust me on this one. If you can get Adagio to roll on this bow, take it into the Crucible and see what it can do. I promise you, I absolutely promise you, if you put time into this bow, it will reward you. Now for the other perk, Impulse Amplifier, it's a good perk. I definitely would prefer Archer's Tempo, but it is nice to just have that extra knock speed available at all times. So for what makes this bow so good, outside of the damage perks you can get, like Adagio, which again I can't reiterate just how good this perk is, outside of that there is something about this weapon, and I don't know what it is, but it just feels buttery smooth. Sometimes when you're playing with this, it just seems like it's impossible to miss a shot. I don't know what it is. It doesn't have the highest aim assist, it doesn't have the highest accuracy amongst bows of its archetype, but there is just something about it where every shot seems to connect. There are shots that you have no business hitting that somehow just whiff around corners and crack the headshot. There are just some weapons in this game that have this inexplainable factor that just makes them so good. I don't know what it is. Another good weapon that hopefully I'll be able to do a review on shortly is Servant Leader. It's a rapid fire scalp that just feels amazing. It sounds good, it looks good, and most importantly, it just feels good in the hands. Now for how I like to play this bow, honestly it's good on its own. You could just main this bow an entire Crucible match and dominate the enemy team. But personally I like to pair it with either a rapid fire pulse or a lightweight SMG. My favourite is the Multimax CCX, that is the SMG from Iron Banner. If you can get that to roll with Quick Draw, and especially Quick Draw Kill Clip, that on its own is an absolute monster and you can go on tears with it, but paired with this bow, you will be destroying enemy teams and you won't even care that you're not running a special anymore. Shotguns get fucked.
Oh, come on!
Just capping everything up, this is a great bow. I would highly recommend getting it. I don't know if it goes away at the end of this season, seeing as all the seasonal content stays around for a year. I'm not sure if it's an entire year for each season, or if it's just that active year of Destiny. This year being the expansion of Beyond Light, next year's obviously being Witch Queen, so I'm not too sure if this loot will hang around for, just until the end of this season, which is going to be a long one anyway, or it will last until the end of Season 3 in Witch Queen. So that's it from me, party people. If you liked this review, don't forget to give a like and subscribe. It would go a long way to getting this channel off the ground, and I would really appreciate it. And as always,
Flawless.